I'm very comfortable with saying my truth. I don't believe in only saying the good, but also like the not so good. And I figured if you're with the wrong person, you don't have to stay there. When it came to divorce, I thought divorce was okay. As much as I'm that person that I don't really care what people say, of course, what people say hurts. I'm living well. And it's not to say that the other people were bad, my previous partners. I think for me, it was just a realization we're not good for each other. If you're not ascribing to the toxicity in certain marriages, the mindset is, how dare you?
Welcome again to For Families podcast. If you're new here, this is the podcast for you because we have conversations on parents, on children, marriage, and everything else in between. And it's all for families. My name is Isabella and I'm super excited about today's episode. And you'll see why very soon. If you aren't already on this channel, you've not subscribed, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Go ahead, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you get notified anytime a new episode comes out. Follow us on all our social media platforms. Get the word out there. Trust me, you need to listen to some of these conversations because we keep it real right here on For Families podcast. Divorce, God forbid. You want to leave your husband and go where? So that another woman will come and take your place, What about the children? So you just leave him like that after how many years? All you women of nowadays, wait. So you want to leave your wife. Why? What has she done? Okay, you are doing something outside, Abi. You can be doing the thing outside, but the mother of your children, you just want to divorce her. So that what will happen? Where will she? No, you cannot divorce. So, keep quiet. What are you saying? Divorce? I'm sure saying it is not strange to you because we've had conversations like that where people just can't see the reason why someone would turn their back on a marriage because marriage is till death do us part, right? There are people who end up going through divorces for whatever reason, and they might decide tomorrow they want to find love again or start a family. And sometimes people can be very close-minded when they hear, oh, this woman has been divorced or this man has been divorced. What must have happened? So what happened there? Will not come and happen in our marriage. And I just think if we don't have these conversations and we don't unpack all these issues, we might just see certain negative stereotypes being perpetrated and not giving people a fair chance. So, as you must have guessed it, today's topic is about divorce and the impact it has on the individuals, on the families. But are you really ready for this conversation? Let's just get right into it. I'm super excited about our guest, and she's been divorced not once but twice, but that hasn't framed her life. She's living life on her best terms, and I'm so happy that she agreed to share her story because sometimes you say one divorce fine, but two divorces, there must be a problem. But really, we need to have that conversation because some people are on their third marriages, on their fourth marriages, even fifth marriages. I'm sure you can mention some of their names. So that means they've probably gone through 2, 3, 4 divorces. So my guest is a Wonder Woman. She's a project manager by day, an international project manager. She has global experience. She's been divorced twice and she's here to share her story. So, ladies and gentlemen, in the comment section, give it up for my guest, Ganiyat Salami. Welcome to For Families podcast.
Hi,
See me thinking I'm on TV and then there's a live audience clapping. Let me clap.
Hi, Isabella. Thank you so much for that sweet and beautiful welcome. I'm so glad to be here to talk to you and, of course, share my experience about my divorces. slash marriages, I guess. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much, Ganiyat. It's weird because we're meeting for the first time today, but I feel like we've known each other because we've worked together, we've been on calls together,
Or
and
extended family,
yes,
kind
like
of.
yes, right. We're connected by my very good sister, and they're like, no, we just met. I'm like, no, like I know you. Social media, right? but
Yes.
but thank you so much for people will say that it's brave, like, oh, one marriage you left, oh yeah, keep quiet, and then two marriages and you've left. So I really just want this conversation to just unpack the different things, because sometimes people are very close minded when they're going into a marriage with someone who has either been divorced, separated, or maybe had a child out of wedlock, and there are all these preconceived notions. So I'd like to start the conversation from when growing up, what was your understanding of divorce, of marriage, of till better, for worse, till death do us part?
That's an interesting question to start with. So I think for me, I don't really know what I thought about marriage growing up. I saw different people in different types of marriages. I think what was crucial for me was that I didn't believe in love, like just falling deeply crazy in love with somebody that you're just going to get married to. And I'll probably say it was due to life experiences. I'd seen people that had that mindset and they were sorely disappointed. So I thought it was important that going into a marriage would require taking time to get to know somebody, to get to love somebody. And part of why I felt that way was because I'm like, you're meeting somebody for the first time, you're just trying to get to know each other. Everybody puts up their best face, right? But the reality is you don't really know a person. I grew up with siblings. I realized that we grew and loved each other better. It takes time to love. So that was my mindset about marriage. I never thought of going into marriage in a way whereby I'm thinking binimakusi. That was in my mindset. I had seen older women, family, non-family, that took that approach, and they became shells of themselves. These are like amazing, beautiful women, not just women, even men. And I figured if you're with the wrong person, you don't have to stay there. So that was my thought about marriage. When it came to divorce, I thought divorce was okay. I come from a family whereby people get divorced, so it wasn't much of a big deal. And I think when I consider like the Yoruba family, there's this misconception that we are completely like one partner for life. That was what we learned in school, but for me, that wasn't what was playing out in my family. I had a good amount of, not just within my family, but like other family members or aunties, uncles that had, stepkids and whatnot. We were used to a blended family, but people didn't really talk about it. It was ignored. And there was usually this notion that you just had to stay in a marriage, but I wasn't seeing that as the reality. So for me, just to wrap it up, marriage was something that you should go into being open-minded, try to build and develop and love and understand each other. But at the same time, if it's not working, it's not working. You don't have to die there.
Wow. As I was listening to you, I wondered how much does religion shape our views on marriage, on children, on that whole institution?
I think when we consider religion, it depends on the type of religion. We have different faiths, right? I'm Muslim, as you can see with the hijab,
Yes.
right? Like super, super obvious. But I'm from a family whereby we have, Christians. I have cousins who are Christians. I have aunties who are Christians. And I can't really speak about the Christian faith, but I know that within the Islamic faith, divorce is accepted, it's acceptable, it's allowed, but it's frowned upon, right? The notion about divorce, it shouldn't necessarily be the first thing you should do. There should be room for mediation. There should be room to try to make things work. Call people that are objective and have your best interest, both partners, right, at hand, and have them try to mediate and make things work. But if it's not working out, you know what? You guys will be fine. So that's the idea in Islam. And of course, within Islam too, men can marry up to 4 wives. But of course, there are conditions and stipulations that come with that people tend to just ignore. So I feel like people, at least within the Nigerian society, or Muslims, let me put it that way, when it comes to marriage, I don't necessarily think it's religion that influences how they perceive it. It's more of culture. It's more of shame. It's more of what will people say about you? And usually that you is not you, it's us, your family. You are like embarrassing us. How dare you do that, So I think it's not really religion, because I feel like if we understood our faith, we wouldn't be, at least the Islamic faith, we wouldn't be encouraging people to stay in marriages that are not good for them. And by me saying that, I'm okay with the idea of divorce, I'm not dismissing the beauty of marriages. I've seen people in amazing marriages, beautiful marriages, people that are, of course, marriage is not easy, any relationship is not easy. You fight with your siblings, you fight with your spouse, it's normal. But is there a willingness to work together and flourish together? So I don't think religion is what influences people, although people mischaracterize religion as the reason why they encourage people to embrace whatever views they feel is appropriate for a marriage. I don't think religion is necessarily playing the role. I think people are just, unfortunately, misinformed or confused.
As I was listening to you when you said culture, is so true, because when we think about marriage within, let's say, Nigerian setting or African setting, it's a coming together of two families. I'm not sure that holds in maybe a Caucasian society where it's very, okay, the man and the woman, but it's really like two families have become one. So when you decide you want to go your separate ways, like you're also separating the families, and maybe they are not ready for that, and those questions like embarrassment and shame. But I wonder, like, what will happen if you end up saying your truth? Like, how they say, don't say it, and then you do say it. What eventually happens? Like, does the ground swallow you up? Do you do you become tainted for life? Like, oh, there's a big tag you're wearing, because it has prevented a lot of people from doing certain things. Not even just marriage. It might be even, I want to maybe dress a certain way, or I want to get a tattoo. It could be something very random like that, but it's now, hey, what my daddy say, what my mom say. It could even be coming on this podcast to share your story, and it's like, you don't say things like that, eh?
Yes.
You want to put it all out there, like, no.
I feel that in my experience, and I have to say this, I have to give honor to whom honor is due. I'm so grateful for having parents that are very caring and supportive, siblings that have my back any day, anytime, friends that sit by me and stand behind me. These people have made my experience with getting divorced very easy, very manageable, very caring, very comforting, And For me, I'm I'm very comfortable with saying my truth. I don't believe in only saying the good, but also like the not so good. And as much as I'm that person that I don't really care what people say, of course, what people say hurts. But I just realized that people will always say what they want to have to say. Simple. But for me, I've gotten very comfortable speaking my truth. Anywhere, in the workplace, around friends, new people. I'm like, yeah, I'm divorced. And they're like, what?
Like,
But I'm like, I'm fabulous though. I'm living well. And it's not to say that the other people were bad, my previous partners. I think for me, it was just a realization we're not good for each other. So why stay together? Why bring out the worst in each other? So in that regard, I don't care. I'm very comfortable saying it didn't work out. And I think ultimately, if being together is not helping you grow, if being together is not showing more goodness, if being together is not feeling like your spouse is your haven when life feels scattered, or more, I can do bad by myself. So I'm very comfortable talking about it. I really don't give a damn what people say in that regard. And for me, what I find is funny because I was thinking about it this morning before I came on this show. Why do people typically feel like they need to talk about people that are divorced? And it boiled down to this: misery loves company. If you're not ascribing to the toxicity in certain marriages, the mindset is, how dare you, right? For other people that are married but very unhappy.
yes.
And usually for those people, how do you distract yourself from your sad reality? Let's talk about Ganiyat. Let's talk about how, my goodness, she couldn't keep a man. How she couldn't stick it for better, for worse. How she couldn't let them know that, you know what? If I don't have a man, I'm worthless. Because that's what that lady's probably going through. So no, I can't be bothered. And I think it's really important to feel comfortable with telling your truth, regardless of how people feel.
Well, that's powerful, and I love how you, in your answer, you showed the role of family in going through a divorce, because the people that you're expecting to say, stick it out, or just manage, or don't worry, we'll get better, pray for him, work on yourself, are the people who have responded in love, not just once, but twice.
Yes.
Do you feel at any point maybe regret, or like, oh, I should have seen the red flags, or why did I go in so early or too fast? Or do you take any blame? And if you could do things again, would you do it differently?
Definitely, I'll take blame because I'm human. I'm not perfect. I'm not an angel. I feel like there are always instances when I would reflect and be like, man, you should have done this better. You should have handled this better. But I think what also really helps is the fact that I need to learn to give myself grace. So it's finding that balance and making a decision to basically get divorced. It's not easy. My first marriage, I was married for over 2 years. And it wasn't a situation whereby I felt like, oh, you know what? I'm the angel here. I always do things right. I was always willing to acknowledge my issues. And that's something that I feel like I'm blessed with and I'm fortunate to have. I'm grateful to God for that. There was always a willingness to admit my faults. But it takes two people admitting their faults. And when I thought about it and I opted to get support, because The reality is this: they don't teach us how to get married in schools. We don't learn these things. We see people around us, our family, our friends, and that's the places where we take our cues from, right? So for me, I did try to get support in a marriage. I considered going to, couples counseling. I did all that. And I'm happy I did all those things because eventually when I got divorced, those days where it was tough, I basically would sit down and review the things that I did and be like, Omo, it's better you're out. You took measures, you tried, you were willing, you were comfortable to try to forgive. And that's not to say that the other person didn't try, he tried. But everybody tries based on what they know or what their capacity is. But I felt like what he was trying to give, I couldn't just, it would take too much from me. So I thought it was better for him, both of us, to go our separate ways and live in peace. And that was what happened. I didn't want to be in chaos because of the notion that when I'm with somebody, I would feel whole, which is a lie, right? For me, I think it was really crucial to just realize that if I can be by myself and there's peace, you know what, I'd rather take that than being with somebody and we're just scattered. It felt like it wasn't the right thing to do. So actually I've forgotten the question, but
no, so it was just about reflecting on if you feel regret if you do things differently.
Yeah. Honestly, I wouldn't have done things differently. I think when we hear about endings, for example, when it comes to marriages, we always feel like they're tragic. I don't think so. In as much as I went into that marriage and things didn't work out, there were so many blessings that came out of it. One of the things that being married gave me the opportunity to do was have a better sense of who I am, recognize that I needed work. It was through my first marriage that I went to therapy. It was through my first marriage that I started recognizing there were certain things that I needed to sort out. Some traumas, some issues, some pain, some things that have been buried deeply that I didn't even understand, So I wouldn't do it differently, honestly. I think that was the path that I was meant to walk. And if I didn't walk through those parts, or that part of those parts, I won't be who I am today. And I'm happy about who I am, and I'm excited about who I'm going to become. So, no regrets.
I love that position of seeing the glass half full, half empty, and seeing like these things happen for a reason. Some will say, God was still in the midst of everything. So this happens a first time, and after your first divorce, did you think you could find love again? Did you actively look to get into a marriage, or were you one of those people that will say, you know what, I've done this marriage thing, it's not going to work, let me just have a long-term partner?
So after my first marriage, initially I was for some weird reason, whenever I get divorced, I'm always glowing for a minute.
Wow, okay.
I don't understand it. But I was just basking in my attempt to just take care of myself and nurture myself. And I was still open. I was open to talking to other men to potentially settle down again. I took my time. I actually took my time. I talked to a lot of, I got introduced to so many men. But I was just like, this is not it, this is not it, this is not it, this is not it. And then eventually, 4 years after my first marriage, or 4 years after my divorce from my first marriage, I decided to try again. And there was the willingness, like compared to when I was like my first marriage, I was in my, I guess like I was in my early 30s. But now, like being in my late 30s, I was just like, okay, let's try this again. Let's be more matured, more understanding, right? And the second marriage was very short.
Wow.
It was very short. And I think that's the beauty about knowing yourself, and knowing who you are. Eventually, my second marriage, I think what really made me just realize that I needed to leave very quickly was because you see people in pain that they don't know that they're in pain. It's easy when you're with somebody that acknowledges that there's something wrong. I, as a person, know I have issues, and thank God for doing that work. I recognize some of the things that I do and some of my overreactions and some of my issues, and of course not just the negative but also like the positive things about myself. But when you're with somebody that doesn't even understand the things that you're saying, you just realize, you know what, this is going to be a wild ride. And I thought, I don't have the energy and the bandwidth to try to deal with somebody that doesn't even understand the things that I'm saying. There was no point.
In your earlier answer, you spoke about your faith. You're a Muslima,
Yes.
and there's the place for mediation. So was that something that happened maybe between the families? Did you think, look, I went through this in my first marriage and I had to do this me work, go to couples counseling and do therapy. How about you do it? Because when you say it was very short, I wonder like if there was time to explore all the avenues of maybe a peaceful resolution that didn't necessarily lead to divorce.
This is the thing about growing older and recognizing that we don't have forever. I think for me, I had to make the assessment and be like, I can't do this. You get, before the marriage, promises were made. Appearances were kept or shared or projected. After the marriage, everything dropped. And there was still from me a willingness to say, let's have a conversation, let's try. There was a willingness to consider getting help after the marriage, before the marriage, right? But after the marriage, somebody is telling you no, like straight out. I just thought, I can't come and die. I am close to my 40s and I need to live a good life. It is not do or die. So I thought it was better. For me, like, time is precious, man. I have people that I know. Like right now, I'm thinking about my grandmother. My grandmother married multiple times, more than myself. I won't say how much, but my grandma was a G. If she wasn't happy, she left. She lived till like in her 90s.
Wow.
Do you understand? And I think for me, I was just like, if I'm giving, I need to get back. I'm not God. God is the one that gives without measure. And I don't pretend that I just want to give. That whole notion of just giving, it's not who I am. I think it's important, like when it comes to relationships, we have to support each other. It doesn't have to be equal, but it has to be there. So when I started recognizing that what was said before the marriage was not tallying or more. Simple. I'm too old to be playing games. I'm too grown to be wasting my time. And I think, and this is what I keep seeing with certain men, there's this mindset that when you go into a marriage, as a woman, you just have to adjust and break and bend. Me, I'm the guy. I'm going to be who I am because I'm the guy. Unfortunately, that's not what it takes to be a man. There's more. There is more. Like, being a man comes with responsibilities. It's not just money. It is being caring, understanding, attentive, supportive. You're supposed to be a leader. That doesn't dissuade from what a woman too is supposed to do in terms of what like her rights and her responsibilities are. But I think a lot of men hold on to the notion that I'm doing you a favor. So you know what? It's either you straighten up, get in line, or whatever. So for me, I was like, nah, you're not that special. You're not my God. If you don't want to own up to the things that you're supposed to do, not things that I'm just saying now that we're married, things that we discussed and you were fine with before we got married. Uncle, bye-bye. It's not that serious. And there's usually like that shock of, how
That was
dare
my
you?
next question. Like,
I think a lot of them, they're shocked, like,
because they can say like, if you're not going to straighten up, get in line, pack your bags, but they don't really mean pack your bags because they don't think you pack your bags, and if you do, your mom will send you back, your dad will send you back.
There's always that shocker for them. They're like, you, and I don't blame them, because when they've dealt with men that have told them, you see these women, that's the vibe they give. For me, I'm like, no, it's not that serious.
But it's interesting because if you've been divorced once, did it at any time cross his mind that, oh, she could do it again? Or was it more of a case of, because she's been divorced once, this second one.
Sorry, I'm speaking Yoruba for people that don't understand.
But this second one, did he feel like, oh, because you've been divorced once, you won't want to do it a second time, so you just take it?
I think that was how he felt, to be honest, I can't really speak about how he was feeling because I'm not in his mind. But I think some of his body language gave off that feeling that he thought they're counting it for you, so you don't have a choice, you just sit there and I'm the price. And I'm like, oh hell no. And I think one of the things that I'm so grateful for is having a brother. My brother Habib.
Yes.
I don't want to cry. Habib doesn't know what he's done for myself and a lot of women in our family. Habib is one of the most gentle, loving men that I know. And he's not perfect, of course. But Habib cares for us like a real man should care for a woman. And not just his wife, but like his sisters. We feel loved and supported by him. So imagine me having a brother like that. You now have some guy that is acting like he's the best thing since God knows what. I'll be like, no, you can go. It's not that serious. And it's sad because for me, what I feel has been the interesting observation when it comes to my dynamics with men is there's this feeling that, oh, is it because I don't have as much money? Is it because I'm not as ambitious? No, it's not about money. Money is little compared to what you're supposed to give as a man. There's more to give as a man when you're a spouse or a father. And a lot of these men, they have belittled, not a lot of these men, let me take that back. Some men have belittled what it means to be a human being, a man, to just money. And it's the saddest thing because there's usually this notion that because, for example, they don't have enough finances, like they don't have enough financially, the next thing is to demonize a woman that is very firm, knows what she wants, is very clear on the gifts that she's been given. You suffer for that because a man doesn't know that there's more to him than just giving money. So yeah, it's quite sad, but that's just the reality. But for me, like the second husband, I think he did feel, oh, she doesn't have a choice. People will count it for her. And it was funny because when I left that marriage, people were shocked. I didn't talk much, but I would say this. It was something that people would say so little, but for me, I was like, this is big. It was a lack of empathy that made me say, I'm done.
Now, that is so important in marriage, because the empathy is not just to you. If you decide to have children, it starts to raise questions of how is this person going to be with the kids? How is this person going to be if, for whatever reason, my siblings or a cousin has to move in with us? How is this person going to be if my mom comes? Like, you have all these plenty questions, because
how is this person going to be when I start having kids?
and that's such a
how is that person going to be to me, not even their child?
Yeah.
To me when I start having kids. Yeah.
So you look at not just the present, what you can take, because you can take it now when you're not in a vulnerable position, but pregnancy, childbearing, it can be so vulnerable. And when you were talking about Habib, what was just coming to mind is just how supportive, how involved, how intentional he is with his family. He does not play with his wife and kids. I'm sorry.
He doesn't.
And you can't pretend.
It's not even just his wife and kids, his sisters, the women in the family. He doesn't play.
So if you have that example of what is obtainable in a man, not some man you saw on TV, but your brother, then it's like, okay, that should be like the barest minimum.
Yeah. And it's so funny because that's what I keep saying, like, Habib doesn't know the things that he's done. I remember, like, leading up onto my first divorce, I was dealing with stuff in that marriage and it was rough. And I remember I went to see Habib. That was when he had his second child with his wife. And my brother was taking care of their daughter. And he was telling me how, my nephew then, it was too funny. Child could not eat. He didn't like to eat. And Habib would basically stand with his son for hours trying to feed him. And I saw that. And I'm grateful for those moments because it started helping me think like, Omo, you didn't get it right this time. And it was from there I was like, okay, let's go to couples counseling. Let's go to therapy. Because I'm like, okay, we can work on this. Both of us have our issues. We can work on this. But Habib always triggered certain moments that made me realize you deserve better. You deserve better. So yeah.
You were speaking about people counting it for you, which comes into the whole conversation on shame, embarrassment. While you were dating, did you ever feel people counting it for you? The men you encountered saying, you've been divorced before, and almost like, oh, the expectations are lower, or you must just take what you like.
Yeah, and it's funny because I have to say, like, I think it's so important for people to be discerning. Especially men. I think it's important for them to know who they're talking to. I dealt with men like that, and initially, after my first marriage, I kind of almost just caved into that pressure. But the great thing was, thanks to therapy, I've been in therapy for almost 6 years now, by the way. And I think that's one of the best gifts from my first marriage that I'll always cherish. One of the things that therapy helped me do was to really break down why I thought I needed to be married and why it needed to be urgent. And there was that haha moment of, they've said if you don't marry and give birth by a certain time, you won't be able to give birth anymore. So I had to start doing the analysis. Does it make sense for me to give birth for somebody that I cannot stand because of pressure? What if I don't even give birth? Is that the end of life? And I think for me, there hasn't been that pressure to have kids because I feel like I'm already a parent to my nieces and my nephews. I'm grateful for siblings that allow me parent their kids. So there's no rush. And moreover, I think there was also this notion that I can't be selfish. To raise a kid because of what people will say, bring a kid to this world and have them suffer for what they don't deserve because I felt like I needed to be married and quickly have a kid. So after having that analysis and assessing why I felt it was crucial to get married like quickly, I was like, you know what? Nah, there are alternatives I can adopt.
True.
So I'm very open to the idea of adopting. I don't feel like I need to rush to have kids. There are people in the world that are going through life, and I think all of us are going through life. There are some kids that want people to care for them. There are some people that have kids and they can't be bothered about them. So I'm like, you know what? That's an option right there. Why do I have to do what people think is ideal? And maybe this is not what God has in stock for me. So I did get those interesting comments and expectations, but I think I had to really assess what made sense for me. And also recognize that as a human being, I have to be responsible, not just thinking about myself, but also thinking about the potential human being that I could bring to this world too. Yeah.
So, 2 marriages down, 2 divorces down.
Yeah.
Are you still open to a long-term relationship that will lead to marriage, or are you done with marriage? And for men out there who are watching that might want to approach you, it's true. What are things what are misconceptions that they should get out of their heads when it comes to courting, or approaching, talking to, dating someone who has been divorced once, twice?
So this is the thing. Sadly, I really don't care about people that are close-minded. If you want to close your mind, stay where you are. I think for me, when I think about marriage, there's this notion that it's your right to get married. No, it's not a right. It's a privilege to get married for both parties. And if you want to get married, it's crucial to recognize that it's work for both parties. And it's important to be honest and vulnerable. It will hurt sometimes, you might feel betrayed sometimes, but I think as long as there's always that willingness to come back together and focus on why you're together and understand what you're trying to attain in being together, it would really help anyone that's trying to get married. I don't really have any advice for any man.
Okay, you heard it. So don't be close-minded. That's what I'll say. And my final question will be, looking back at your marriages and divorces, what's the biggest lesson you're taking away from the whole experience?
Man, that is... I haven't really thought about that. I think I would say some of the biggest lessons that I've learned is nobody's perfect. And it's very important to always try to see things from the other person's perspective. Forgiveness is crucial. But I think one of the biggest lessons for me is that if somebody cannot stand who you are, let them go.
I think that's a powerful place to end it. If someone cannot stand who you are, let them go. I mean, if they're going to be there for the rest of your life and they can't stand you, I mean, when we start seeing verbal abuse, violence, it stems from that, when you just can't give two about this person and you can't stand them. So almost like, to hell with all the consequences of your actions, and you just stop caring. But I love it about forgiveness, forgiving yourself, forgiving others, and recognizing that we're not perfect. To err is human, to forgive is divine. Thank you so much, Ganiyat. Wishing you all the best in life. And one thing I must say is that you've not let your past marriages or divorces stop you. You are actually glowing. I mean, is she not glowing? She is. And even though you can't see her hair, trust me, Adara products are great. She has put in so much time, and I know this because we work together on Unraveling the Knots podcast, which you guys should check out. Yes, Unraveling the Knots podcast. Yes, and check her out to Idara. Maybe from Unraveling the Knots and Idara, love can enter, but that's not the goal now. The goal is to live life to the max, and like you said, there's so many options if you do want to raise a child, whether it's adoption or parenting other children, and taking your auntie role very seriously. So thank you so much, Ganiyat.
I do.
Yes, you do.
Thank you so much, Isabella. It's such a pleasure.
Oh, thank you. It's now time for me to put you on to the good stuff. This is where I tell you all about what I'm loving now. And right now, I'm loving Farms Chili Oil. It says here, your best travel buddy. And I agree, because when you go to Obodo Oyinbo, you go abroad for holidays, a lot of their food is not spicy. And if you're like me and majority of Nigerians that love pepper, it can be hard to just get used to the food. And that's why I don't blame Nigerians that they travel. It's not even up to 24 hours or 3 days. They are already looking for a Nigerian restaurant, or maybe they've taken food with them. But even if you take food with you, how long will it last? But if you take this with you, Farms Chili Oil, you can just squirt it, a few drops here and there, and vavavoom, that spice, that heat, the chili, the pepper is inside the food. You can tell I'm a foodie, right? And I must also say that beyond their chili oil, that's Farms, they also have their shito. I don't know, but I'm in this, should I say, Ghanaian renaissance, where I've been trying different Ghanaian food. I've even got to myself an asanka, and I love shito. But am I going to go to Ghana to get shito? So as you're getting the Farms Chili Oil, you can also get your shito from them. They also do marinades that you can use when you're cooking, whether your chicken, your fish. And if you don't even want to stress yourself at all, you can order already cooked sauce from them. They are village pot sauce. It's kind of like ofada, and it comes with protein. So all you're just doing is literally boiling the eggs, putting it there. And if you want that, you can also ask them for that. If you want your father rice too, you can ask them. So I love pepper. So whether it's shito from Ghana, whether it is chili oil that I can easily put in my bag and take with me, or it's just a marinade that I can use, maybe I'm cooking a sauce, or I just want to baste it on my grilled fish or chicken or turkey, or put it in pasta. There are so many ways you can use these products, and I know that because I follow them on social media, and I'm like, so this is another way you can use this oil, or this is another way you can use this sauce, or this is another way you can add shito. I'm like, wow. So yeah, check them out and tell them that we sent you. Isabella sent you from For Families podcast, and I'm sure they will treat you extra special. I only plug you on to the good stuff, and that's what I'm loving now. My peppery accompaniment everywhere I go. And sometimes even within Nigeria, some food is not still spicy. Or maybe you're like me. Sometimes we cook food without enough pepper because of the children, and you still want pepper, but you want the kids to eat. It's a gradual thing to get them to start eating pepper. So even at home, without traveling, you can still use this chili oil to vavavoom the heat in your dishes while the kids are still acclimatizing to our peppery nature here. And I know it's not just Nigerians, other climates, they also eat pepper, like the Thai people, they eat pepper in their curries. So yeah, and that's it for what I'm loving now. So this is where I answer your burning questions, and sometimes I get DMs from parents, or I'm in conversation with other parents, and they're just like, oh, what do you think about this or about that? And you know what? If you do have a question, just leave it in the comments or send a DM if it's private. But today, the question I'll be answering is about homework. Yes. Let's not lie. Some of these schools, they are doing the most. Like the homework, you'll be like, when I was this age, was I doing this much work? I don't know if it's because there's so much technology available, there's AI, so the teachers have to justify their pay, or is it the schools because they're collecting school fees? But some homework can be a lot. And sometimes parents don't know where to start from. And good old days in the past, you always had your lesson teacher. Most people either had a lesson teacher or you go for lesson. You stay back after school, which are all great options. What I will say is, when it comes to doing your children's homework, make an effort. Even if you're going to get a lesson teacher, even if you're going to outsource it to AI, there's an opportunity for bonding with your children. So if you don't know it, there's no need to form Superman or Superwoman, or I was always coming first in class. Just own up, like, oh, this one is a bit hard for daddy today. This is rather difficult for mommy. But when we face difficult situations, what do we do? And that can be a learning moment for you to teach your children that they won't always have the answers. But if they put in the work, if they go and check the sources, whether it's online or offline, I'm a big supporter of books. So if you first start with books, but if the books don't help, you can then go online, so that the day there's no internet, or I don't know, something happens, they are not like, I can't do this work. So go with them to the books, their textbook, read it with them. If you then need to go online, even their lesson teacher, engage. If you have a lesson teacher, whether it's virtual or it's physical, engage the lesson teacher. You then begin to see what areas they're struggling with, what areas they really love, and you're more involved. So even when you're giving feedback during your parents teachers conference, or you're engaging a new tutor, you can speak from a place of knowledge, like, oh, my child really loves this, so maybe don't focus so much on this, but you see this particular issue or this particular subject or this particular topic, I really need you to go deeper. And that way you're getting the best for your money, whether it's school fees or extra lesson teacher. So yes, don't run away from homework. That's all I'm saying. Be involved, use the books, use the internet, and have fun with it. What a show. I'm so grateful for how our guests always trust us with their very deep and personal stories. In this society that constantly judges men and women especially when they go into marriages and decide to leave, it takes a lot of courage for someone to come and share their truth. And I'm so glad that Ganiyat Salami was here on the show, and she shared her truth, what she had learned from both marriages, both divorces, and she left us with a very powerful message, which is that we're all not perfect. We should learn to forgive, and if someone cannot stand us, then you should probably consider leaving. Empathy is so important. Really, really grateful for that interview. And of course, I'm loving having Farms chili oil with me and the other sauces, Cheeto sauce, their marinade, even their cooked food. I vouch for them. And the question that came up on homework: be involved. Don't run away from challenges. Admit that you don't know and use that as an opportunity to bond with your children and to see where their strengths and weaknesses are. And it's a wrap on For Families podcast. I'm Isabella Adediji, and I would love for you to subscribe to our channel, tap the notification bell, and of course share the link with a friend, a colleague, and get the word out there. This is our podcast. It's a podcast for families, for parents, for children, on marriage and everything else in between. So I can't wait to come again. But till then, make sure at least drop a comment if you're not going to share the link. Thank you. Bye.